Okay, this is Kyron with NXT Takeover The End of the Beginning review. And I originally wanted to get this video out yesterday after I got home from taking my last 2 exams. I'm done with school right now. But if I did, I would have made a video completely lying because on Wednesday, the first match I missed because I had to get ready for school. And the last 2 matches I missed because Game 3 of the NBA Finals was on, and I had to watch that. I know everyone like wrestling, but for me, it comes a time when the NBA and LeBron James is more important than wrestling. And this was one of those times. Anyway, but that's beyond the point. So I decided to watch the entire show over today, which is the Friday after Takeover. And as usual, NXT completely nailed it and knocked it out of the park. And I'm glad that we didn't run this the same week as Money in the Bank, because I'm pretty sure this would have outshined Money in the Bank, just like NXT Takeover Dallas outshined WrestleMania, NXT Takeover Brooklyn outshined SummerSlam, and NXT usually always outshines the pay-per-view the same week. But this isn't about the other pay-per-view. Me and Kyrie will be doing the Money in the Bank prediction videos next week. But right now, I gotta talk about NXT Takeover. The first match, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name right. Andre Cien Almas versus Ty Dillinger. This is an okay match. It was probably my least favorite of the night because it was the shortest, but that doesn't mean that's not why. I just didn't really care that much about it. It wasn't bad, but nothing really spectacular happened. They both showed some pretty good athleticism. Almas tried to go for a moonsault from the top rope, and Dillinger rolled out the way. Almas landed on his feet and then hit a standing moonsault. That was a pretty cool move. When he was doing a handstand on a second rope, and Dillinger kicked him. That kick was a pretty good kick. Almas won with a double knees while Dillinger was sitting in the corner. He hit him with double knees, and if that's his finisher, not bad, but might need a new finisher. Just saying. I gave the match a C+. Next up, the Revival, Dashing Dawson versus American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. This is what tag team wrestling is, and this match might have been my favorite match of the night. Both tag teams it had a lot of fighting, straight up fist fighting, a lot of technical moves, and my favorite spot of the night was when was the setup to a double ankle lock move. Dash and Dawson tried to Irish whip American Alpha from 2 different corners into each other. American Alpha reversed and Irish whip them. Dash and Dawson came back around, American Alpha tried to go for a clothesline. Dash and Dawson ducked and tried to go for two back suplexes. Jordan and Gable landed on their feet and put them in ankle locks. That sequence was perfectly executed, and it was not flawed in the slightest. You could tell they practiced that because that was pulled off perfectly. This match was really shocking because, in all honesty, no one really thought that Dash and Dawson were going to regain the NXT Tag Team titles. The people talked about how this show was going to be predictable, and besides this match, it pretty much was. But predictability shouldn't matter towards wrestling if the work rate and wrestling is good. And this match was a really good tag team match between two really good teams. And as much as I wanted American Alpha to win, I think putting the titles on Dash and Dawson may have been the right decision. Now, American Alpha are the best tag team in NXT. And probably in terms of in-ring work, the best tag team. And probably in terms of in-ring work, the best tag team in WWE. But Dash and Dawson, for me personally, are more interesting as the champions than chasing the titles. Not saying that they were born. I mean, I personally don't hate them. I think they're really good wrestlers. And they really, and you can tell the NXT crowd, they got the heat because they really want American Alpha to win because they're so over. I did too. But I think the Revival earned it. They didn't, win by cheating. Of course, there was some cheating moves because they're heels. They didn't use a cheap finish. And there was a lot of double team moves, like double team moves, but they never felt out of place, and they didn't feel like, okay, that's too many. I think they were all used at good moments. After the match, uh, American Alpha looked different, disappointed, and so was I about losing the titles. And I apologize for the noise in the background. My grandmother's cooking. And they were attacked by two guys named the Authors of Pain, who apparently were managed by Paul. I want to say I mentioned it. Paul Ellering, who managed the Road Warriors back in the day. Me personally, because I'm only 16, I don't really know much about the Road Warriors. Hate me if you want, but I can't just say I know something I don't because I'm young. But all in all, I gave that tag team match an A minus. That was a really good match. Next up, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries. Nakamura is starting to become one of my favorite people in NXT. He's right behind Finn and Bayley as number 3. And in terms of wrestling, he may be the best wrestler in NXT. Austin Aries, you can tell he had something to prove in this match because he's not a bad wrestler, but like I said in NXT Takeover Dallas review, he had yet to really impress me because I don't really watch Ring of Honor or anything else he's done. And the only exposure I had to him was TNA, and I stopped watching TNA around the time he became really popular. But this match was, for a lot of people, the match of the night, and I see why, because both guys brought it. It wasn't as good as Zayn versus Nakamura in Dallas. Wasn't as good as that match, but it did live up to the hype as being a dream match. My only I think the two best spots was when Austin Aries hit a Death Valley driver on the apron. Now I know I've felt what a wrestling ring feels like, and that is the hardest part of the rings. How in the world did Nakamura not die or get a neck injury from that? If that had, I think if they had slipped that up in the slightest, things could have went really bad. After that, Aries tried to go for suicide dive, and Nakamura moved out of the way. I think the camera the camera angle could have been a little bit better for that. They switched the cameras, and you didn't really get to see a little bit. But Aries hit the barricade. And this isn't one of the rubber barricades on the main roster. This is one of those steel barricades. How in the world did Aries not break his jaw from hitting that? That was a pretty sick spot. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Aries was really hurt. And Nakamura put him in the ring and went to the top rope and kneed him in the back. Tom Phillips completely messed up and said Kinshasa too early. And Corey Graves even corrected him for it. And Nakamura won with the Kinshasa, or Kinshasa, as Tom Phillips says. And it's just me, because every time Tom Phillips says Kinshasa, it's nothing but to cream his pants. But this was a really good match. My only gripe with it is that Nakamura failed to sell the leg injury when Aries was working on his leg. He didn't really sell it around the time he was doing some of his kicks, which is not really good. We all harp on Roman Reigns for not selling stuff, but we can't just let Nakamura off the hook. I'm not trying to compare Reigns and Nakamura. Don't threaten me, IWC. Please don't do that to me, because Nakamura's miles better than Roman Reigns ever will be in terms of charisma and in the ring. But that was a really good match, and I gave it a B+. I thought it was really good. I think if Nakamura had sold the injury a little bit better, I could have given it a higher grade. But I'm not gonna deny the facts. Next up was Asuka versus Nia Jax for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, coming to this match, they kind of teased us for this match back in December at NXT Takeover London, and the crowd responded pretty well to it. And now we get here. And this match was it was a short match. It didn't even go 10 minutes. But of the 9 minutes we got out of it, it was a really hard-hitting match. Jax looked dominant. I've never seen, and Corey Graves and Tom Phillips did a really good job of selling the fact I've never seen Asuka get decimated like this. Jax was really countering everything Asuka had. Asuka was using her speed and her agility and her fast striking, but Jax was just overpowering her. And it's weird because Asuka's usually the one that overpowers everyone else. I did think it wasn't great. It wasn't on the level of Asuka versus Bayley or some of the match the four horsewomen had. But I look at this as its own match and don't really try to compare it to what we had before. And as its own match between two strong women, I thought it was good. And the ending I like. Asuka started kicking Jax down and knocked her down to one knee. And Jax just allowed her to scream before Asuka kicked her and then ran and kicked her again. Brian Zane from Wrestle with Regret said he didn't really understand that. I actually thought it was an epic moment of Nia just saying, come on and end it. Come on. And Asuka retained the title, no surprise there. And, Asuka really looked hurt after the match. Like, Jax took it to Asuka. And Nia Jax, despite, she's lost two NXT Takeover women's title matches, but she looks strong in both of them, especially this one. Because having her tap out to Bayley, I thought kind of diminished that a little bit. This one, she got knocked out from a kick. And Jax was kind of dazed after the match. One of the trainers talking to her. And Asuka, barely able to stand up. I thought it was a really good match, and I gave it a B-. I really thought I thought it was a good match. So now Asuka can move on to Bayley in Brooklyn, hopefully, because I want to see that rematch. Next up, and finally we get to the main event: Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. Balor again kills it with another great demon entrance. But before I get to that, I love how the cage came down. Instead of just coming down dun, 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 normally, all four sides of the cage came down. Why don't we usually see that in the main roster? That was I like how the cage came down. Maybe they should do that more often. And they're playing the old Armageddon theme song. The end is here. I'm sorry, I can't really sing. Grim and King Ross from Grimm's Toy Show and What Culture both pointed that out. And I'm thinking, I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed the old Armageddon song. I love that song, by the way. So Balor came out, and this demon entrance was another good one. It was three cages at the entrance ramp, and Finn, peeked his head over and knocked it down, and came and just crawled over it. Another great entrance. I never get tired. Every time they do something new with the demon entrances, I don't know where this ranks in terms of other demon entrances. I'm still leaning towards London being my favorite with the Jack the Ripper, and the Chainsaw one's pretty cool as well. But that was a really good entrance. Joe came out as usual looking determined. And I like the new color scheme Balor had. I'm glad, as much as I do like the red and black, in Dallas he had added blue. This time it was white and black, and it really worked. It worked very well. Now on to the match itself. This may be my favorite Joe versus Balor match yet. And maybe I'm just saying it because I literally just finished watching it right before I started doing this video. Or I like it more than Dallas, but I gotta watch it next to London and see how it compares. But this match was really good. This didn't start off with a collar and elbow type. Both men just they felt each other out and just started going at it. They both tried to escape the door a few times. Highlights of the match for me personally: Joe and Finn were both on the ropes and they started fighting. Joe hit like an enziguri to Finn's back, and Finn fell in between the ropes and the cages. Joe fell off the ropes. That was a pretty cool spot. Balor tightrope walking on the ropes and kicking Joe in the jaw and falling right on his crotch through the ropes. That looked like it hurt both men. I don't even know which one I'd rather be in that situation. And my favorite spot of the night was when Joe and Finn were both on the top rope, and Finn hit a sling blade from the top rope. I literally yelled so much. I literally, oh! My reaction was so strong that I angered my grandmother and being that loud. But that was a awesome moment to see. And, Joe hit the muscle buster. Finn kicked out. Finn hit the coup de grace, and Joe kicked out. And the ending, it actually surprised me. Finn was at the top of the cage. And he was sitting there. I thought, is he going to go for a coup de grace from the top of the cage? Because that's what the fans kind of wanted. But he didn't. Joe grabbed him and hit a muscle buster from the second rope. That ended it for the 3 count. On one hand, I'm glad Joe won. As much as I like Finn more, I'm glad they kept the title on Joe. And I'm surprised. I think they're going to try to protect Finn as the demon, because the demon has yet to be beaten. So I thought Joe was going to win by escaping the cage you know, Jericho and CM Punk, how their cage match ended. Finn was going to accidentally kick Joe out the cage. But no, they gave Joe a clean win, and I'm happy for it. Happy about it. I gave that match an A- as well, just like the tag team match. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, probably going to say I've ranked Aries and Nakamura too low, but that's just how I feel. I like all of them. I like every match of the big four, especially. So a lot of people are gonna be saying, is this gonna be Bella's last NXT match? No, I don't. No, it won't. I'm not gonna tell you how I know that because I don't want to spoil it for you from Twitter. And I know you don't trust social media, but I trust Triple H's Twitter. But I'm not gonna spoil that for you. So, what's my final score for NXT Takeover the end? With two A minuses, a B minus, and a B plus, I give it a solid B. I give it a B, but a C plus as well. I gotta give it a B. Another good show that with a really good main event, a really hard hitting women's title match, a great tag team match, and Aries and Nakamura was really good as well. Next now. Also, before I leave, let me just say that since this is summertime and I might be getting a job over summer, for the next few days, more videos will be coming out because I'm going to have more time on my hands. You know, I'm done with school. So I will be getting out some more videos. Until next time, though, my name is Kyron Chase, and I will see you guys later.